the biggest thing that keeps me in the studio and keeps me going is, we were talking about ambiance a little bit before we got on here. Music just motivates me to keep going and going. I usually listen to jazz music when I paint, but really I love any type of music. I'm a big music lover. What about
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Jamie?
Oh, yeah, I am too. And I have a wide range of music that I listen to. And I used to listen to only music, but now I kind of listen to a mixture of music and podcasts. I listen to a lot of
Yeah.
podcasts.
Welcome to Creative Type Podcast. This is episode 6, Time in the Studio. I'm Lori Rivera.
And I'm Jamie Haney.
And we're your hosts for Creative Type Podcast.
Welcome. We're glad to have you back again.
Yes. So, Jamie, how's your week been?
It's been hectic. It's
Has
always
it?
hectic, isn't it? Oh, yeah, just always, right? We've had all that rain yesterday, and I got groceries in the rain with my dad,
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's just always a hassle to do that. But
it
it's
is.
it's dry today, windy today, isn't it?
Yes, it is so windy. I went to the
Yeah.
post office this morning, and my walk from just the car to the post office, which was like, I don't know how many feet, but not, I'm in the parking lot, so it's not very far. I came home and my hair was all tangly just from blowing in the wind.
Well, I'd look like a bushwoman if I was out in it today. Holy cow! When this hair tangles, you better stand back. All right. So today we're talking about time in the studio, and this is going to cover a lot of things. Really, we're just going to be talking about our experiences, about our time in the studio, and we'll maybe give you some tips on what we think is good amount of time and just everything else that we're going to chat about.
Yeah.
You want to start?
Oh, sure. Well,
Okay.
for me, probably the biggest thing that keeps me in the studio and keeps me going is, we were talking about ambiance a little bit before we got on here. And music just motivates me to keep going and going. And like, I usually listen to jazz music when I paint, but really, I love any type of music. I'm a big music lover. What about
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Jamie?
Oh, yeah, I am too. And I have a wide range of music that I listen to. And I used to listen to only music, but now I kind of listen to a mixture of music and podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to just, it's almost like I feel like I can't learn enough fast enough. I'm always trying to learn. So that's why I have an interest in the podcast. But I will say that, we've talked about this before. My paintings are heavily influenced by music for
Oh,
sure
mine
and
too.
lyrics. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's good if well, first of all to listen to whatever you want to listen to, right? To make yourself comfortable. That's the whole point. And
Mhm.
that's another thing with time in the studio is it's got to be comfortable. But
Right.
before I talk about being comfortable, I wanted to ask you, how do you listen to your music? I don't think we've ever talked about
Oh
that.
yeah, we haven't, have we?
Mm-mm.
I have an Amazon Echo
Mm.
and I listen to it on there.
Okay, so you have Amazon Music that you listen
Yes.
to? Is that it?
Yeah, and I think it's like maybe $3.99 a month or something. But it's well worth that money because I use it, well, every time I'm in the studio, I use it.
$3.99 a month. Well, you must have some sort of a deal because I had unlimited Amazon Music last fall. They gave it to me for 3 months to try it out. And then it was going to go up to like $15 a month.
Oh,
So
really?
that's a
Well,
huge difference. Yeah. So
maybe
I
I
want
need to check my bill.
to, maybe you
Maybe
better.
I'm getting charged that much now.
You might be. But I maybe it has something to do with your Echo. Is that Echo through Amazon? Is that no, that
Yeah.
would be Alexa, wouldn't it?
Well,
No, I don't know.
I
Which
think
one is the
it is
Amazon?
Amazon. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
the Echo is
Amazon.
just a smaller one, isn't
Yes,
it?
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the small one. And
Okay.
the
All right.
Alexa is the large one.
Okay. Well, I was using the app on my phone and I loved it. Amazon Music was fantastic
Oh, yeah.
until they just recently changed it. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I had playlists. Did you have playlists on yours?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. So you're just letting them pick music for you in
Right.
genre? Oh, ugh. See, I can't. I don't
I
like
like all the
that.
variety.
Oh, no, no. I want to hear what I want to hear.
Yeah.
So I had Oh, I can't even tell you how many, at least 20 different playlists of all different kinds of music.
Oh, wow.
And they did away with that. Just like in the, I don't know, maybe at the first of the year, the
I didn't
last of
realize that.
the last, oh yeah. And they lost me, totally lost me as a customer. I will never pay for that service ever, as long as they
Mm,
keep that service up, because I wanted to be able,
right.
and when I clock in, when I log in now, I log in and I can see my playlists. They're there, but when I go to play them, it won't play them. It gives me something
Oh,
that it thinks I want to listen to, which is yeah, they lost me. I'm not ever,
yeah,
I haven't opened it since. And even my son, he was using it and he's changed over to Spotify
right.
and totally like all the time now because he was using
Yeah.
both. And I have Spotify and Pandora, and I
Yeah, I
listen to
have that
those.
too.
Yeah, and I also have and I have an iPad, and I know you do too. And I have music
Mhm.
on my iPad, like from all the years, we're a little bit older, right? All the
Yeah,
years of
just a little.
collecting music. And I don't know if you remember this, you're a little younger than I am, but I was working in an advertising agency when Napster was real big. Do you
Oh,
remember Napster?
yes. I
Oh,
remember
girl.
that.
Oh man, we were downloading music as fast as we could, which is
Oh, yeah, me
not good,
too.
pay the artist, right? Pay the
Right,
artist.
right.
But back then, you didn't think about it, right? We didn't think about it stealing from the artist. We didn't think of that it was doing that, but I do still
Yeah.
have a lot of digital music. All the CDs that I had, you used to could pop in a CD to your computer, and it would change it over to where it would be an MP3, and I
Yeah.
could put it on a little player that I had, this little tiny, like size smaller than a Tic Tac box, and all my
One
it
of
would
those
hold.
iPods?
No, it
Or
wasn't
no,
an
just an
iPod. I
MP3
had,
player?
yeah, I just had a
Okay.
generic one. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it kind of the same deal. And listen to hours and hours and hours of music that way. And as the technology progressed, then we had these music apps. They came out, and the
Mhm.
first one I remember using was Pandora. It was on
Me
my
too.
in my car. And I thought, oh, what's this? And then I noticed that it picked up off my phone. So it was like, oh my God, this is like magical. What is this? This is awesome. And
Yeah.
so I kind of, all my music that I had purchased in the past is now kind of like just sits there and doesn't, every once in a
Yeah.
while, I will go to my iPad and play from my list on there. And I did that a lot when Amazon changed their thing. Screw
Right.
Amazon.
Yeah, I love Pandora too. I just use my Echo when I'm in the studio, but like if
Oh,
I'm in the kitchen doing stuff or, cooking or cleaning,
yeah,
a lot of times I'll have Pandora on because we don't have
yeah,
an Echo in every room, obviously. So,
yeah, yeah.
but Pandora, I love Pandora because of the just discovering new music. Well,
Yes.
same with the Echo too, because
Yeah. And Spotify does that
I
as
let it
well.
pick for me. So,
Yeah, and
same.
here's a little plug for Spotify. My son has he plays video games, and he has Microsoft is it Live, where he gets to get on and play games with all his friends.
Oh yeah.
And so they have apps on the Xbox, and Spotify is one of them. And you can link the Spotify from the Xbox to your phone, and it gives you like an upgraded version. So he doesn't have hardly any commercials that he has to listen to. And his lists are just fantastic. He shared me his list. I was kind of honored. How many people had their
Yeah.
kid share their playlist with it. I thought that was we like
Yeah.
a lot of the same music, so it's kind of
Oh, that's
crazy.
cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. I
Yeah.
like that. He's got great
What?
taste in music.
Well, of course.
Of course he does, right? It's mine.
Yeah.
But
What's your top music to listen to when you're in the studio? Your favorite
oh man, my go-to would be mm, I'd have to say
or
I
top
have
couple?
top couple would be like classic rock. Like I love Fleetwood Mac
Oh
and
yeah.
just all kind um stuff like that. But then the 2000s and the 2010s kind of
Mm-hmm.
alternative like Incubus and kind of harder stuff. I really like it.
Yeah.
Chevelle just it just goes on. Maybe someday we'll share our lists.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Share it not only with each other, but maybe we'll put a link on the show notes to our podcast here, what we like to listen to. Because I'm always curious.
Yeah.
Somebody else who does that is Flora Bowley. You know who Flora Bowley
Yes,
is,
I
right?
love her.
Oh
Yeah.
God, me too. She's
Her
so great.
paintings are just
Yeah.
gorgeous.
And she finds some incredible music.
Oh, she
It's
does.
Oh yeah, she used to send
Yeah.
out like years ago. She had a thing that you could join her, and I don't remember how much it was monthly, but I did it for a while. And she would send you her playlist, and it was always just this funky music that I had never heard of, and it was always fun. It was always pretty much good. Sometimes I did skip, if I didn't like them, but yeah, that was. I thought that was always kind of cool because you
Yeah.
can get into their mind of how the artist is by listening to their music.
Right.
One thing I
I
don't
totally
really care
agree.
for is like pop music. The only pop music that I care for is like from back in the 80s when I
Cyndi
was a
Lauper,
teenager.
like
Oh
Cyndi
yeah.
Lauper, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Girls just want to have fun time
yeah,
after time, but don't worry, be happy.
right.
These are like old songs that I remember cruising to on, cruising Green River Road
Oh yeah,
with my friends. Yeah, when we were 16, 17, around that. Oh my gosh,
yeah. I
so
remember
great.
that
Great memories, great
every
memories.
Friday and Saturday night.
Yep, that's right. We were out there.
Well, I do
All right.
like pop.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Pink is my favorite.
Oh, now, yeah, I do like some Pink songs, but I meant like current pop. I couldn't even tell you who was the hottest song right now.
Oh, right.
Not at all. I have no clue. Now I do know Pink, and I like
Yeah.
some of her music. I do like, but I haven't heard anything in a long time by her. But and it also depends. Like if I'm working out, I want faster music,
Oh
so I
yeah.
will find play that in. That's kind of a whole different beast, right? That's not
Right.
studio music. But all right, well, we've talked about music a whole bunch on here, more than
Yeah.
I thought we would.
How can you not, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, but I did touch on, is it comfortable? Is your studio comfortable for you? And I'm going to start off
Yeah.
with this one because I have my studio in my basement, and it's a typical basement. It's been fixed. We've painted the the block walls, and it's lighter, not as light as it could be. And my husband put in two sets of windows, and I do have a door that he put in that leads to my greenhouse. However, we have a deck over the windows, and so they shade a lot of the light, so I don't get much light coming in here. So it's kind of, sometimes I have, right now, if you're watching on YouTube, I have three lights on me, including the overlights, or not including, in addition to the overhead lights. So I've got two little ring lights, and one of these big soft box lights, and it still to me feels it's better with the soft box light for sure. But the feeling in here is cold. Of course, it's winter, and it's kind of dank because we had all that rain yesterday. And unfortunately, my studio floods a little bit. Now, flooding may be an extreme word. It doesn't really, I'm not standing in water, but it
Mhm.
seeps in. We get so much rain that the grader, we live on a gravel road, the grader has screwed up the way the water flows. And so the water comes right down the driveway to our house, goes down this hill. And unfortunately, our house was not graded properly when it was built many years ago. And so the water collects and sinks down below, like to our basement, and it seeps in through the walls. So it kind of trickles in. And unfortunately, that's way too much information. Maybe we should cut that out. I don't know. But unfortunately, I stepped in water as I came into my studio today, walked down to the end of the
Oh
stairs,
yeah.
it's
Oh.
not standing water, but I have thrown an indoor outdoor carpet down there to kind of muffle some of the sound, and it's wet. So I splashed through a little bit of wet carpet and to come into my studio. Luckily, my actual studio part, if you're on YouTube, you can see me, it's mostly dry. So it doesn't have the problem with the seeping in. And yes, we've used
Mhm.
the Kills which is a paint, real thick paint that stops water from coming in. It does not work all the time. And if we have rain, like a horizontal rain come in, like the wind is really blowing, and it hits my side of the house and rolls down, it can seep in through the door. So my studio has been wet. You've seen pictures of it, remember?
Oh
Little
yeah.
little rivers
Yeah. I
going
know
through.
you dread when
Yeah.
it rains a lot.
Oh,
I
I
know
dread it.
that.
And it's been
Yeah.
cold. I have a vent down here, and I have directional things for it to go. But sometimes it's hard for me to get motivated coming in the studio because it's just not comfortable. So
Yeah.
I know that your studio is in, well, you only have one floor on your house, so that
Right.
makes a difference. So it's pretty even as far as temperature goes wise. Sometimes my temperature is, it gets cold down here, and I used to have a little radiator plug-in type, and then my son stole it. And
Oh no.
I just haven't bought another one. And actually, there really just isn't enough room to have a radiator, sitting down here. And it's not that
Yeah.
cold. I can throw on an extra shirt or something. It's
Right.
not like my hands are cold or anything while I'm painting. It's still, in the 60s.
My studio is the opposite. It's like the warmest room in the house
Oh man.
during winter time. Like I
Well,
keep
that
the
can be
doors.
uncomfortable too.
Well, I have two doors to my studio. Well, actually three, but I keep both of the doors closed, and that's why it stays so warm in here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you have
So
louver
sometimes
doors,
it's a little
don't
too
you?
warm.
Yes. Do you ever get a fan going?
No, and I don't even know where I'd put a fan in here. My studio is not real large.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Maybe
I
you
don't
could
even
hang one
know.
up at the ceiling just to kind of circulate. I don't know.
Right.
But then,
Maybe.
you run into the problem with your paint drying too fast.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
The problems of artists,
Yeah.
right?
And my lighting looks a little bit like yours. It's
Yeah.
similar. I have two ring
Overhead lighting.
lights. I have
Yeah.
two ring lights on, and I have my main overhead like LED light up there.
Yeah.
And and that's a whole other topic we could explore sometime. Should you have a
Lighting.
warm or a cool light?
Right, right. I
You
have
know?
a few different mixes. I have some fluorescent lights in here, and then I have some LED lights in here. I
Mhm.
have a ton of lights, but just the fact that I don't have natural light, and today's really dreary here in
Oh yeah.
southern Indiana. So, but it just feels it's just like you just can't get it light enough. I thought about my walls are painted kind of an off white, and I thought about going a brighter white and painting the
Yeah.
ceiling white because it's the floor joists, for the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I thought about painting that, but who's got time for that?
I know, right?
Right. I got a gallon of paint to do it with. I just haven't had time. I think I've
Yeah.
had it for like a year, over a year. Big,
Hey,
big ideas, and that didn't happen.
yeah. Something else I thought of is like if my studio is really, really messy,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't want to come in here.
Yes. I know you kind of dread having to clean it up because there's no room. Well, and
Yeah.
that's how mine kind of stays. I'm really bad. Now you're lucky. Your daughter, Autumn, you can get her in there sometimes and she'll organize your studio for you. I'm
She
jealous of
will.
that.
She's
Yeah.
great
But
at
you
it
have to,
too.
yeah, you pay her though, don't you?
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not
Well,
a
that
ton of money, but enough to
yeah.
motivate her to do it.
Motivator. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Good. Oh,
Yeah.
we'll have to send her my way sometime.
I need her
Then
help
I'd never
again.
find anything. What?
Yeah. I need her help again. My
Oh, yeah.
studio's looking pretty messy right now.
Oh man,
So
every time I create something, it feels like I just a bomb went off in here. It's just a
I
wreck.
know. I
It's
know.
awful. I'm such a messy artist. Are you?
I am, except when I clean up the studio.
Now, do you have like how's your flooring in your studio?
My flooring it's vinyl tile. And it was
Okay.
the flooring that was here when we moved in. It
Okay.
wasn't a great floor or anything, so we didn't feel the need to change the flooring.
So you are okay with dropping paint on the
Oh
floor.
yeah.
Oh girl, mine has
Yeah.
got splotches and yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, and
I've
as you can
stepped in
see my
paint and walked over
yeah.
it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I see your wall.
Yeah, my
Let's
wall. And
start
I
looking
think
at my
yours is
wall.
like
Yeah.
that too,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes I think that's distracting to me to have all that on there. Is it to you? So I thought
Yeah.
about painting over it just to get a nice clean surface again and start
Right. I've
over.
thought about that
Yeah.
too.
I just haven't done it. I'm
And then I
lazy.
thought, who has time for that, right?
Right. Ain't got no time for that.
I know.
Okay. So I'm going to move on to another one here.
Okay.
Because we talked about hot and cold. Oh, and then the summer. In the summer, actually, mine is colder than in the winter because the cold in the house, heat rises and
Oh
cold falls.
yeah.
So it's always cold in here.
So do you have to
And
wear a
it,
sweatshirt or something?
no, I just close off. I turn off my vents. And sometimes
Mhm.
I'll open my greenhouse door and it's always warm in there if the sun
Oh
is
yeah.
out. If the sun is out. And in the summer, or in the spring, we usually have more sunnier days. So that helps warm it up in here.
Hmm.
But I have all my plants in there so I can smell the greenery and
Yeah, that's
to
heaven for you.
oh God, for a gardener, that is just heaven. I love to smell the
Yeah.
plants and even the dirt. I don't mind. So that moves me on to the next one that is really important for me. I don't know how much it is for you, but smell. I am so sensitive to smells anywhere, but in the studio, like I kind of get a little ritual going. I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah.
think I've told you guys this before. I love to burn incense.
I
My
think you have,
mom
yeah.
my mom was a hippie. I grew up like that, and mom was always burning incense. So, and my husband hates it. So I can only burn it when he's at work. And then he'll walk in, oh, what's burning? I said, it smells good. What are you talking about? So I burn incense and just having that float through the air, it not only smells great, but it just gives off this vibe and just this swirling. I don't know, maybe I'm just now picking up on this. I have lots of swirls and stuff in my artwork. I wonder why
Oh yeah.
maybe that is influencing me, the
Maybe.
swirling, and maybe it is. But
Yeah.
I have a bunch of incense that I just grab one and I light it and I just get my music going. And oh my gosh, that to me, that's the best ambiance is smell. But now I know for some people they're real sensitive to smell in a bad way, like the art supplies, the
Oh
oils
yeah.
and stuff. But I use acrylics, so I don't have. Now I will tell you, when I was doing that one painting with the spray paint, that was rough. I probably should not have done that in my studio. And I didn't do much because I got all the windows closed. One time I did spray some stuff and I had my window open and I stuck a fan in the window and my fan colored the way that it was pink. It was a pink paint that I was putting on there and pink and green and blue. And the fan is totally covered in paint now. So that
Oh.
just shows you how much of those little particles and stuff are floating around. That's really not
Yeah.
healthy to have
Right.
that in your lungs,
Oh, I'm sure
breathing
it's
that in.
not.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
isn't. It isn't. But
Yeah.
um, it's how important is smell for you? Are you real sensitive to it like I am?
You
Oh,
know,
and Daryl
I
Daryl calls me a bloodhound. So
oh yeah.
I can smell something a mile down the road. Yeah.
I have a good sense of smell, but I don't really like burn candles or incense or anything like that in my studio. Probably
Uh-huh.
because I'm afraid I'd forget to put it out when I
Oh.
left.
Well, the incense just burns itself out
Right,
and it
right.
just
The
goes
incense
away.
does,
Yeah.
but yeah. Yeah, like candles and stuff like that. No, definitely not.
Yeah, I'm a little leery of candles too. I do love them,
Yeah.
and I like the warm ambiance that they give too.
Right.
And I sometimes will burn candles upstairs in the house, but
Hmm.
I've never burned candles in my studio. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't either.
and it's a little off subject, but my mother-in-law. Do you remember the ice storm we had a few years ago, several
Oh
years ago?
yeah, in like
Well,
2008, I think it
right.
was.
Well, she lives in Paducah, Kentucky, and they were without power for like more than 7 days. So she
Oh
was
wow.
burning candles all in her house. And do you know, and she has these light yellow walls. Do you know that the soot is in every corner of the ceiling now? You can
Oh
see just
wow.
from having a week's worth of candles going all the time. It really put all that. And now, I mean, it doesn't come off. That's not something that comes off easily. You really just
Yeah, I
have
wouldn't
to
think so.
repaint. Yeah.
Right.
So, all right. All right. So, what else have you got to make your
Well,
studio comfortable for
I
you?
have to have my coffee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have to
Can't
have
forget
my
that. So,
tea.
I
Yeah.
can smell, if we were talking about smells, I guess I have the smell of coffee in my
Oh,
studio.
there you go.
As you
Yeah.
can
Cause
see, I
that's
have it
kind of
right
strong.
now.
Yeah. That's strong, isn't it? Coffee smell is strong.
Yeah, I
See,
love the
tea
smell
isn't.
of coffee.
I have iced tea. I like iced tea.
Yeah.
So, I would drink hot tea, but who's got time for that?
And then, of course,
I
oh,
have an
yeah,
iced tea
right.
maker. So, yeah. Yeah.
And
But
then, of course, sometimes I have my chai tea. I'm a
oh,
chai
yeah.
tea
Yeah.
lover.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know that.
I'm gonna have to try that sometime. You just brag about that, how good it is.
Oh, yeah. It's
Actually,
so
we
good.
haven't said anything about my ghost hunt last weekend, but
Oh,
it
yeah.
was pretty good. Actually, it was really good. It was really good. We had stayed for 2 nights, and I have a friend that well, they're all my friends, but one friend in particular, she's a coffee freak. Reminds me of you and Vicky, and she got me to drinking coffee. But it's got all this stuff in it. And we have that. She picked out this one, and you bought it out of the refrigerator section and it was like French vanilla or something like that. And I think that could turn me into a coffee drinker because it was
Oh
like
yeah,
it was like hot chocolate. It was delicious. Oh,
it
that was it.
is.
Maybe it was mocha. Maybe it was mocha. It was like
Yeah.
hot chocolate. Oh gosh. And she's done that before. She's poured some stuff in before it and made it
Hmm.
better for me. My mom used to drink that black coffee. I don't know how anybody
That's
could
how I
drink that.
drink it.
Oh, do you really?
Oh yeah. Now, if it's during the holidays, I love the
Yeah.
peppermint creamer that you can put in there, and the
Oh, okay. Yeah.
eggnog creamer too. So sometimes during the holidays I'll do that, but most of the time I
Uh-huh.
just drink it black.
Oh, wow. Well, I would think that would be an extreme to go from a flavored one to black coffee because that has
Yeah,
a definite, almost bitter taste, doesn't it?
yeah, pretty much. Now I can't
Yeah.
drink strong coffee though.
Okay. All right.
Like
Well,
if I go
man,
to
my,
Starbucks, for example, I get the
yeah.
blonde roast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've heard you and Vicky talk about that, how they have really strong coffee. My
Yeah.
mom's coffee, I think, could walk on its own. She drank coffee. She drank this black coffee. She loved it. She was hooked on it. Okay. So, Lori, do you keep any snacks in your studio?
No, I don't
You don't?
actually.
Oh
No, I
man,
don't
I
eat
do.
in here at all. But I
Oh,
know
let's
you have your hot tamales.
oh my God, yeah, yeah. And I was on a Twizzler kick for a while there. I had to stop that. I
Yeah.
was buying 2 pounds of Twizzlers a week. I have to buy some new clothes. So I stopped that. But yeah, I like to have my hot tamales. Uh, and it is kind of bad. You can just mindlessly put them in your mouth. And it isn't good.
Oh, yeah.
They always say to not have food in your studio because you can consume the paint. But
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
always pretty careful about, I don't ingest any paint that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
My hands are always dry, clean as possible when I'm putting those in my mouth. But I also used to be on an M&M kick. Oh, let me tell you, that's dangerous right there. I stopped bringing those in. Sometimes I like jelly beans, and like around Easter time, and they have all the good flavored ones around. I'll have those. But as far as like, and I have had a sandwich down here if I'm making a day to be in the studio. But I found now it's best to get away, to like have a lunch break and go up in the kitchen, and it
Right.
feels like I'm really getting a lunch break. Plus,
Yeah.
it's just such a wreck down here. There's really no place to put a plate and a
Oh, same here.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
just
my
no room.
table is like packed with stuff. And
Well,
what
you've seen
about
mine. Mine's the same way.
yeah, yeah. What about bathroom breaks? Do you take a lot of bathroom breaks when you're in the
Oh,
studio?
well, yeah, because I drink tea all day. I drink
Yeah.
about five glasses. I think that's about a 12-ounce cup right here.
Looks
And
like it.
I drink about 5 of these a day. And yeah, so I'm making,
That's quite a
and
bit.
I'm a woman of a certain age. I need to be. Do you remember seeing that commercial where they pulled the porta potty behind him in the car?
I don't remember that.
Oh my God. I thought that's really clever. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, and it's kind of a pain because I have to stop what I'm doing and I have to go up the stairs and then travel through the house to get to the restroom. And in that time, I guess I'm AD, what is it? ADHD.
ADHD, yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have a little, my mother was. And because I get so easily distracted.
Oh yeah. Me
So
too.
I'll be, oh, while I'm up here, I'll just do a load of laundry. Or, oh, I
Yeah.
need to go check the mail, which is a long walk for me, which is good to walk during the studio, your studio time. It's
Yeah.
good to get some exercise. So do you stand or sit when you're painting in the
I
studio?
I do both. Like for example, this painting back here
Hmm.
that I'm doing right now, I'm standing to paint that. Now, if it's a large abstract, I usually stand. If it's a smaller painting, I usually sit and use an easel. What about
Yeah,
you?
I do the same. I do both. I sit if it's small and then I stand if it's large. Because,
Yeah,
or if it's on paper, then I have to sit doing it. Although I don't know if you can see
right.
it. I do tape some paper to this thick masonite piece I have
Yeah.
there. That was actually Asher's little easel. You get those little easels, and when they're
Oh
kids,
yeah.
yeah, I stole
Yeah.
it because he didn't use it.
That's cool.
So you were going to add, I forgot already.
Uh, just things we have in our studio
Oh,
that
yeah.
remind
Okay.
us of good things in
Some,
our life or
right. Keeping it cozy.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have several paintings of my daughter's in here. My daughter and I used to paint together quite a bit. Now, as
Yeah.
she's gotten older, she likes to draw more than paint. That's
Yeah.
her thing. I think she wants her own thing, now
Yeah.
that she's
Yeah.
getting older.
Right.
So, but I have like this vase of flowers that she painted when she was about, well, I guess it was just a couple years ago when we were doing homeschool. She's in in-person school again now, but we did homeschool for about a year or two.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, so I have that in here, and I have some of her little butterflies. And
Aw.
so I love oh, and I have your fish painting in here that we talked about in a previous podcast. It's on my
Yep.
shelf up there.
Yep.
And so I just love surrounding myself with things I love and things that inspire me.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Now I have similar stuff like that in mine, but I have these cinder block walls, so I can't really hang stuff up much. So I have to rely on little shelves that I've got, and I don't have a whole lot of those. They're crammed full of art supplies. But I
Mhm.
do have, let's see, I've got a few things hanging that friends of mine have made. A friend of mine, Patty Blakeman, she made this angel, and it's really pretty cool. It's like a mixed media piece, and I have I've got a piece that I did in high school of my
Oh,
own
yeah.
up there. It's something I always liked. It's the sun, and it's up there. I always look at that. So that is like super old. And let's see what else. Oh, I've got this little vessel that Tom Winscat made
Oh, yeah.
from the beech tree pottery.
Yeah.
It's a I think he calls them ugly jugs. It's a face. It's an ugly face, which I think is totally cool. Oh, I got a clock. I got a couple clocks in here. I got 3 clocks. How many clocks have you got?
None.
What? Really? And
My
that's not
phone. I
including.
look at my phone if I need to know what time it
Okay.
is.
Well, I'm not counting those. I got a digital clock that's flashing because electricity went. And then I have my grandma's really old Coca-Cola clock that plugs in. And then I have a clock that she gave me, my grandma gave me, that it's that black and white cat that its eyes move back and forth, tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
That was just, she always, I've always liked cats. So she got me
Yeah.
that gave it to me a long time ago. It was hers, but it doesn't work anymore. So it's stuck on like 10 till 8. And let's see, what else have I got in here? Oh, I have lots of photos in I've got some
Yeah.
of my mom's mom, my grandma Smith, and my son and Zoe. And oh, I have an old cookie jar in here, just little things that make it cozy for me. And I
Right.
have a photo of me and my mom, and just little things you pick up. Stuff. Sometimes people give you stuff, for your
Oh, yeah.
just as gifts, and it's like that's not going to fit in my home decor, aesthetic. So it might be a little cutesy thing. I've got like this little hippie girl that sits on a shelf, and my friend Kelly got that for me, and she said, "Well, I thought this reminded me of you," which I don't know if that was a compliment or not, but she's been sitting on my shelf for years and years now. But
That's funny.
just the fact that she gave it to me,
Yeah. I have
little
this
thing.
really cool I guess it's made out of clay. It's this funky face. It's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of freaky looking. It's really
yeah,
cool. I think the artist's name was D Shad. I think he's
yeah,
out of Indianapolis. I got it at the New Harmony Contemporary Gallery of Art.
yeah. I remember
And
when you got that. Yeah.
yeah, I love that thing. And I was looking at my shelf over here. I also have my little Bob Ross figurine that my husband got me. He's standing there with this
What
little
was it?
palette Bob Ross figurine.
Oh, Bob Ross. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I love him.
Oh yeah. I don't. Somebody got me some mints with Bob Ross tint, a tin, and it had
Oh yeah,
Bob
I've
Ross
seen
on there,
those.
and it has little trees in it. The
Yeah,
mints are trees. It's pretty cute.
that's cute.
I think that's the only Bob Ross thing that I have. And then of course I have shelving for drying paintings and
Hmm.
that my husband built for me, which at the time worked great, but now the size is all wrong. I was doing that long
Oh.
ago, 30 and 30. Remember when people used to do that? I think they still do that. But it was
Oh,
30
30
and 30.
paintings in 30 days.
Yes, yes. And
Oh, yeah.
I needed a place for those to dry and to just store them.
Right.
And I was doing 8 by 8s. And so he made the shelving for me. And it holds mostly empty canvases right now, blank ones, but there are some others that are in
Yeah.
there.
I remember when you were doing one of those 30 and 30s. I guess
Yeah.
it was probably 2019 or something, or maybe around there. I think you had some
Yeah.
pieces from that at Stack, some of your
Yeah.
plant
Yeah.
and nature inspired pieces.
Yeah, that's probably about it. I sold a lot of those plant paintings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were pretty.
Oh, thank you. And I still have some left. But yeah, I think that was about the right time that
Yeah.
I did those. I think when you do stuff like that, that people, you're showing up consistently, and it was hard
Mhm.
to get in the studio every single day. And, it was taking me about 4 hours to knock one of those out.
Mhm.
And, my son was a lot younger then. So I had limited time. I was taking him to school and picking him up from school. So I had this very limited time, kind of like what you are experiencing right now.
Right.
And I had to get in there, and then, or if I didn't, I was very committed to it. If I didn't get it done during the day, like if I had to get groceries that day or something, a doctor's appointment or whatever came up, I would do it in the evening. And that didn't bode so well either, having to make dinner, so a lot of times I was down here when it was really dark, or not dark, but late
Yeah.
night.
And we've
So
talked about this before, but if I paint in the evenings, oh, that's just not good. It keeps me up for hours.
yeah,
It like
yeah, I don't.
energizes me.
Yeah, that is strange because
And
it
then I
doesn't
just can't
necessarily,
sleep.
yeah, it doesn't necessarily energize me in the way that I can't sleep. So, but
Yeah, it
when you
does
get
me.
older, that might change. You sit down and you're
Well,
down for the count.
I think I'm getting there.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't take much. Things do change. It's kind of crazy
Yeah.
how I'm turning into my mom, which isn't a bad, that's not a bad thing. All right. So I guess we've talked about everything here, things to make it cozy. That was it.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else right off the bat.
I can't
But
either. Um, yeah, I think that's about
I
it.
think,
I
yeah,
can't
I
think of
think we've
anything
covered it.
else.
And if we do, then we'll just bring it up in another chat.
Yeah.
So it's been fun talking about this. I wonder if our listeners are talking along with us, thinking, oh, I do this, or thinking, in their mind,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I do have that, or, I keep something similar, or no, I don't do that at all, or ooh, I don't listen to music, or ooh, I don't listen to podcasts, or,
Right.
anything like. If you are a listener or a YouTube watcher, we would love to hear your comments and thoughts. Write into us. We have an email that we'll list in the show notes, and ask us questions. Oh man, I can't wait till we get the first question. We haven't gotten any questions
Yeah,
yet.
we haven't, have
No,
we?
of course
Send us those questions.
we're just on episode 6. But yeah, send us
Yeah.
questions, things, topics that you want to hear us chat about. Or if you, and we'll give you a shout out. And we do have a shout out to give today, don't we?
Yes, we
I'm
do.
I'm excited to say that Linda Blondheim gave us our very first review on, was that Apple Podcasts that she
Yes, it
left it on?
was.
Oh,
Yeah,
such a sweet, nice comment that she
it
left. Now,
was
we both know Linda. I know her a little better than you do. I've met her in person.
a lot
And
better. Yeah. I
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
met her in person.
She's a Gainesville artist, and she paints like Florida, but not like your typical palm trees and the ocean. She paints, is it inland or upland? I can't remember what she calls it. Might be both.
Oh, I'm
But
not sure.
like her Florida that she grew up in, which is in the middle of the state, and it's very, not really pastoral, but um, countryside Florida.
Yeah, that's how I
And oh,
describe it.
they're
Yeah,
just beautiful paintings.
they
And
are.
she's, yeah, and she sells on her website and on, is it Daily Paintworks? Is that what it's called, Lori?
I think so.
And
Is she still on
she,
there?
yeah, I think she still has some stuff on there, and she also sells on Facebook and Instagram. And we'll have
Mhm.
a link to Linda's website and all the places you can find her as a thank you for the wonderful review that she left us. She's such a generous person. She gives, if you haven't heard of Linda Blondheim and you're an artist, then you need to look her up. Look up her, either her Facebook page. She has one called Art and Stories, which is a group, Facebook group. And then she also has her blog. She has the absolute best catalog of advice for artists. She's been an
She
artist for
does.
many, many, many years, and a successful artist. So, and she is so generous with her, what she offers to everyone for free, and she
Mhm.
also has limited mentorships. I was so lucky as to get one of those mentorships, even though, I'm in Indiana and she's in Florida. We did. I got to ask her questions through email, and she gave out advice, and she shared her painting palette with me. I mean, just incredibly generous of her. I just can't thank her enough. She's really influenced how I conduct business. And as a matter of
Mhm.
fact, she influenced you yesterday, didn't she? She was on another podcast of ours that we're going to mention
Yeah.
here in a minute. And she gave out some great advice. Why don't you tell the listeners the advice she gave that you took action on already?
Well, it was mentioned to create some bookmarks out of, well, I created mine out of paintings, some
Yeah.
abstract paintings on paper. And
That you had decided you didn't like anymore, right?
right. I didn't like the
Right.
composition of them, and
Right.
I just didn't want to spend the time making them better. So I
Mhm.
thought, I'm just going to cut these up into 5 bookmarks. They were 8 by 8 paintings, and I'm going to send those out to some of my collectors.
I think that's fantastic. See, it's stuff like that. She just has the best ideas. And
She
you did it. And
does. She has great
congratulations to
marketing
you.
ideas.
Yeah, congratulations to you for taking action. I mean, because we just listened to that podcast yesterday. So why
Yeah.
don't you tell everyone who that podcast was that we're influenced by as well?
Thea Fiore-Bloom has a podcast called The Charmed Studio. You
Mm-hmm.
have to check her out. She is so awesome. She has such
Yep.
neat stories on there, all kinds of marketing ideas. And
Yeah.
just that's the podcast I listened to yesterday, or Jamie listened to it also. We both did. And
Right.
it's just a wonderful podcast. She was talking about Linda on there yesterday.
Right. And she helped us get our podcast rolling, didn't she?
Yes,
She
she
had some good
did.
advice for that too. And we want to give her a shout out as well because we're very appreciative of that. And someday we're going to have her on here, whenever we can figure out
Yes.
how we're going to do that, right?
Yeah.
And Thea's kind of different. Here we got one side, we got Linda who does all the marketing, all the social media. She's everywhere. I don't know how this woman
Yeah.
has time to sleep. And then Thea, she's a writer also of her blog. She does things really without social media, doesn't she?
She does.
Yeah,
I think that's
it's
so
kind of
cool.
two different takes on that, and she's
Right.
successful at that too. So it's really good to have, you never know when Facebook is going to pull a plug or
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. So you
Yeah.
have to really, and both of them talk about how your email list is so important. So it's, we kind of ended here on a marketing part, but that's, it's always about marketing yourself, whether it's on social media
Mm-hmm.
or if you're connecting with people in person. And she had a great podcast yesterday, and it was asking Linda for her um, advice, I guess, on what she thought was the best way to connect
Mm-hmm.
with the clients, wasn't it?
And
And
yes, and I thought the best advice on there from Linda was to treat your collectors like they're your friends,
yeah,
because really they are,
yeah, they are. Yeah.
you know?
And really like your friend, not just like a superficial friend.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
exactly.
and then when I was listening to that, I'm thinking, okay, what if our personalities just don't click? But I don't think that you attract people, like attracts like. You don't
Mm-hmm.
attract people to you and who like your art for someone that you're not going to click with. So I think that
I
was
think so too.
I think that was really interesting. Okay, so for
Yeah.
this sounds like we could get a whole nother podcast going on this.
Yeah.
Let's end with that. Thank you, Linda, so much for our very first review. If you would like to have a shout out from us and a link in our show notes, rate and review us. But the important part is you review us. That way we can get all your information and share that with our listeners. And we would be so grateful. Of course, we would love to have a 5-star review, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, send us your ideas, questions, comments. We are open to it. All the contact information will be in the show notes. So, Lori, you have a great rest of the day.
You too.
And do you have anything that you wanted to add before we get off here?
I don't think so. Just thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We really are grateful to the listeners that we have. We know that we've just started out and, we're finding our way. We're kind of fumbling still. I'm trying really hard not to cuss. uh, but, we're figuring things out, and we kind of are moving towards a conversational style as opposed to teaching people.
Right.
Although there is learning moments in everything, right? So if you followed along with us and you're still with us, thank you so much. And if we've been on for a while now and you're going back to these first, 6 episodes, and thank you. We really appreciate you so much. Can't thank you enough. and happy painting, sculpting, jewelry making, fiber making,
Pottery
whatever it
making.
is. Yes, whatever you do, you're welcome here always. And we do we're both painters, so we kind of side to that. But I do hope that we have some other artists on here that
Oh,
work with
yeah.
other mediums, and I think we will. So if you have any ideas, send them to us. And with that, I guess we'll get out of here until next time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye bye. Talk to you later.